It's Sunday, July 31st, 2033. The Sacramento Athletics are 62-44 with a shot at winning the division. We have put together the best season thus far. A .585 winning percentage would be number one, with the 89-73 season at .549 being the next closest. Probably our first season with 90 or more wins, and it would be the first time for the A's since 2019. Now, our pitching is spectacular, possibly the best in Major League Baseball. The hitting has slipped a bit. The Pythagorean record at 54-48 belies it. Maybe we're a little bit better. We're a little bit luckier than we should be. We are very good against left-handed pitching, pretty good against right-handed pitching, good form in the last 10 games, and a 15-8 month of July. Frank Alcacer, one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's on track to throw nearly 200 innings in his first full season as a starter. Went 97 2/3 in hybrid duty last season as a Rule 5 draft pick. I could not have expected this season from him. A 2.91 ERA. He was the guy that I was trying to move out of the rotation, but he's been spectacular. An all-star this season. Matt Brash, probably the best closer in baseball, on pace for 44 saves in 77 innings. A 207 FIP. He actually had a very rough start to the year in April, but has rebounded and become one of the best pitchers in baseball. Not an all-star this season. Has yet to be named an all-star in his career, even after this 5-WAR season as a starting pitcher in 2029. But who cares? He's winning for us. Chris Mullin, after the shoulder injury, or was it a UCL? Yeah, the UCL has not returned to his dominant form, but he's still a quality starting pitcher that munches innings, on pace for nearly 200, which would be a career high, I believe, 190. And if he could just pitch, that's fine with me. It's not like he's on a mega deal. And if he can pitch the whole year, fine. George Kirby is on the team. I'll get into it in a minute. So we traded for him from the Houston Astros. He's 35 years old, the second former Seattle Mariners starter that we've added. He's got 2 Cy Young award wins to his name in 24 and 27. A fringe Hall of Fame guy. He'll get votes, but maybe not get in. His peak is very good here from 2023 to 2027, and a little bit more, I guess, into 28 and 31. But he's 35. 1 year left on his deal. Very good control pitcher. Has had a good year for Houston. And we didn't give all that much up for him. Just Arturo Solorio, who we acquired from the Phillies in the Kerkering trade last season. So Solorio goes over and is in AAA now for Houston. Whatever, I'm okay giving him up, given this is our last season. But the reason we traded for Kirby is because we traded for Skeens, and he got hurt. Paul Skeens pitched 1 game for us. He was also an Astro. We gave up substantially more for him, and he tore his rotator cuff, and he's a free agent after the year, so he's just gone. He pitched 1 game, and that's it. That's all we get him for. We traded Connor Langdon for him, who's a decent lefty starter, and the Astros are probably very happy about this trade right now. I wanted to make this trade because Skeens was having a great season, 3.59 ERA, in over 100 innings pitched, and I thought that, well, if I'm taking the Astros' best pitcher away at the time they were second in the division, that's improving us and hurting one of our division rivals. But he gets hurt, so I go back in. Kirby was on the block. I trade for him, and now the Astros are down 2 of their top starting pitchers. Sitting at 54 and 49, they're in the wild card position, but they wanted to trade both those guys. They have some young pitchers they can have step up. And those 2 guys were free agents, so I get it, but maybe not to us. You trade those guys. Joe Little has been hurt for a little bit of this season. He suffered a elbow strain in his throwing arm, so he's going to end up missing about half the year, maybe a little bit less. But he's still good, maybe not Cy Young caliber, but a very good pitcher, and he's the front-of-the-line starter for us. Jaden Baptiste, a surprisingly very good season out of the bullpen from him. He has been nothing but quality for us since he came over in the trade from Houston in 2031. And this season now his best has yet to make a start in his major league career, which I'm a bit surprised. But we got him in the T.J. Brock, Yuri Perez deal, both those guys, along with Dan Sant. So that's a very good trade for us. We'll get into Sant and his struggles in a minute, but Baptiste being a quality reliever is a good enough outcome out of that trade for 2 free agents. Bryce Miller having a good year as well. We have one of the best starting rotations in baseball, if not the best. Just quality top to bottom, and now adding Kirby as a legitimate fifth arm. 4.07 ERA for Miller. Going to go over 200 innings, hopefully a free agent after the year as well. Darius Vines has moved to the bullpen, but he's a good starter too. He pitched over 100 innings as a starter and a 3.39 ERA. Now he's going to come out and be our Andrew Miller, is what I would hope him to be. And hopefully we use him that way. I might have to go in and manually control the bullpen because I think that'd be a great role for him right now, just given how competent he was as a starter at age 35. And we've really become kind of an ancient team on the pitching side. We got Brash, Kirby, Vines, Miller, Hampton all over the age of 30, and then everybody else is young, but very old contributors in the staff. Dylan Walters has come up following the injury to Joe Little. I called up Walters, and he is a very solid relief pitcher, rated out to be that. He's been unlucky with his ERA, but I think as he gets more innings, it should stabilize. And I didn't see a need to add anybody else in the bullpen because we got Walters, Brash, Baptiste, Trey Combs having a good year, Jamie Maynard as well. And then Hampton is okay, but we're paying him. And, I mean, the ERA is good, but the FIP isn't. And then Juan Ella Reed, I do like as a lefty option with options. So we don't need to add anybody. I think we're set with the staff. Just wanted to get one more starter in there. And that wasn't even to – I mean, you only need 3 to 4 starters in the playoffs. If one of those guys goes down, we have – I think 6 guys that I'd be comfortable starting in a playoff game, including Darius Vines. And then if it comes down to it, Walters would start. So I think our starting pitching's solid for the playoffs. And then hitting-wise, Connor Griffin is having a great year. He was doing even better, like MVP pace, but this awful month of June and a subpar month of May just kind of tanked that chance. I mean, he started off on fire in April. 6 homers, 17 RBI, 7 doubles. 8 steals. He's on pace for 38 steals. He could have a 30-30 season if he maxes out his home runs. But just right now, slightly above average hitter with very good defense in right field. Was an all-star again, though. I think largely on the merits of what he had done at the early parts of the year. Max Clark has, taken a step back with the bat, but I think he's just so good defensively that it doesn't matter. And he's actually available now. He has not been hurt, so that's why his WAR total will probably be close to what it was a year ago. Now I do see he's wrecked, which is very unfortunate. I guess he has been hurt. I didn't even notice that. Was this a day-to-day? Oh, yeah, it was a day-to-day. I just didn't see it. Well, whatever. He's healed now. Not my problem if they have to pay him past this season. Grady Emerson was a great hitter up until this month of July when he's been awful. And it's unfortunate his first full season playing third base, competent there, very good ratings, but now he's fragile. Everybody's fragile in this game. I don't like how easily players become fragile and wrecked. I have it at realistic modern-day injury settings, but I don't think that's entirely realistic. A guy like Emerson shouldn't be fragile at age 25. So many guys are fragile so young in this game. Sean Galloway is cold, but he's been off to a good start, too. We're just kind of cold this month, hitting-wise, but the pitching's been so good that it's okay. In July, not the all-star caliber hitter that he has shown himself to be sometimes, but look at these ratings, man. I mean, the ratings could be arguably better than Connor Griffin, with the avoid Ks being so high, just not walking all that much, and that I think is hurting his value. And then Tim McFarland is, I think this is who he is. He's a league average hitter and a good defensive catcher. That's not, the best player in the world, but for what we got him for, I'm happy with that outcome now at age 27. He was an all-star this season. And we traded for him for he was in the Mason Miller deal. So that is still a lasting, impactful trade and a very good one for us, as Miller has largely flamed out since we dealt him. He had a good season with the Mets, and then got hurt after being traded to the Astros, it looks like, and then a good season with the Astros last year, but now he's in AAA with the Dodgers. He's wrecked. That's a good deal for a catcher like McFarland. Ayala, kind of Bobby Hunter. He's kind of just Bobby Hunter. He's a league average hitter. We've had this righty guy at first base for the entire sim. First it was Vargas, then it was Hunter. And now it's Ismael Ayala. But Hunter's having a real good year for the Dodgers, albeit in limited playing time. But I'm good with that. With that flip, we needed to save the money. We added some pitching, and Ayala's done well. Mauricio Albaladejo, worse with the bat than I'd like, but such a good fielder that it doesn't matter. Still need him to get his first Gold Glove. Is the range back up to 80? No, it's down to 75. Chris Sinclair has been up for bursts this season. He's been largely a pinch hitter, but he's hitting so well in AAA that I needed to have him up here, particularly with the struggles of some guys. And he's a great player. I'm happy to have him kicking around on the bench. Same with Jeremy Rodriguez. Definitely not getting ever since his rookie season, just the playing time has steadily decreased, but you got to stay competitive, and he's just not offering us all that much. A negative defender at third, even though he's got good ratings there. He's just never been a good fielder at third, even despite the ratings, which is unfortunate. Zach LaValle, a league average hitter, providing us some okay defense. That's a good bench piece at 24. He just has not separated himself. I just traded for Edgar Quiro for Andy Eggers and Jorge Castellanos. Eggers, I had called up for a minute because Moncayo was struggling, but the ratings, I don't see him becoming anything more than a quad A guy. And to pick up Quero, who was hitting well in Cleveland in a backup role, he's a good defensive catcher. He can steal a little bit, which is fun. I probably need to get him fully scouted, but he's a better player than Eggers or Moncayo, and I'm happy to have him on the bench. Andy Cervantes has been terrible with the stick since a pretty solid month of April, and I'm half wanting to get rid of him, but so defensively versatile, and the BABIP, if it goes up to what it was with, what's his career BABIP? It's around 300, so if it goes up a little bit, he's a subpar hitter with a lot of defensive versatility, and that's fine. And if he keeps struggling, we got guys in the minors we can call up. And then finally, Dan Sant, on pace for 20 homers. He's spent a bit of time in AAA. Now, the reason I've called him back up, he has a 42% strikeout rate in the major leagues. He had a 39% strikeout rate last season for us and 42 the year before. That's unsustainable at the major league level. His best season was his rookie year in Houston when we acquired him at the deadline, but the strikeout rate was down to 32% and a near 10% walk rate. The reason that I'm calling him back up is because he had a similar BABIP, actually lower in AAA, but he was mashing. And he just has that ability. If he can just turn a corner, he can mash. He's a luxury on our team right now. I wish that he wasn't starting all the time. That doesn't make any sense to me. Start Sinclair. I might try and make that happen. He should start every day. No, I don't want him at catcher. What about first? I don't want him starting, man. He stinks. What about right field? He's just not really any good. Let me put him in right. He'll platoon with Connor Griffin, Dan Sant in left. Fine. And that doesn't get Sinclair in the field. Whatever. So that's the lineup. And then in AAA, we've had a few guys come up. Braylon Morrell had his opportunity. He was hitting fine in AAA. Him being a righty is the reason I'm not trading for anybody other than the two starters I did. Luis Tapia, another righty reinforcement that's on the 40-man roster now. Eric Salazzo was a Rule 5 draft pick of the Atlanta Braves, but they have since returned him to us, and he actually hit pretty well in his 105 plate appearances. Jeff Wagner was very poor in 124 plate appearances for us, and I just didn't have a spot for him. So he's down in AAA right now. Jeremy Johnson had a cup of coffee again with us, but he's, such a one-type player. And then the pitching, Daxton Levin had an extended run, but we wanted to open up a roster spot. And then I'm having the AI control a lot of things now, as I'm really focused on just getting this season done and getting us to the playoffs. I'm going to look at the deadline and see if we can acquire anybody. Look at the standings first. We are the second best team in the American League behind the White Sox. If we look at the expanded standings, the Rays are quite obviously the best team. Or I guess the Pythagorean's not that much more. So we're all kind of evened up here. And then the Angels and the Astros as well, getting unlucky. So a very competitive American League. And then in the NL, it's kind of these teams and nobody else. The Dodgers are super good. The Cardinals and Reds and the Braves. Everybody else is 500 or below for the most part. The Diamondbacks getting very unlucky. But we're in the spot for the division. Connor Griffin second in the American League in stolen bases. Alcacer leading in wins. Anybody else that's familiar? Colt Keith was traded to the Dodgers. The Tigers. I don't know what you're doing trading the guy who's won 5 MVPs. They did extend into this contract, but can't do that. Especially having a great season for the Dodgers. Maybe a career year for him. I mean, geez. Yeah, the best hitting year of his career. First year in LA. Bad trade to give away a Hall of Famer like that. But anyways, these are the guys that are left on the market that I thought about trading for to replace Sant. Ronald Acuna Jr., who can not really play the outfield anymore, but he can DH. He invoked his no-trade clause. And then Julio Rodriguez did as well. And he's having a fantastic season for the Mariners. Those are the two guys I wanted. Everybody else is lefties, and we have too many of those guys. And then, guys like this guy, he's not hitting well. Those were the two players I wanted. We can't get them, so it's the two starters, and we're gonna lean on our guys. Jeff Standiford has been offered to me a number of times from the Cardinals. He's a second baseman, but just has never hit well, anywhere except for his rookie year. That's it. So I'm not moved by him. Yeah, if that's gonna be it, we're kind of done. So it's gonna be World Series or bust this season for us, and this is the best spot we've been in. And hopefully everything stays the same and we make the playoffs. We have a good draw. Hopefully get a first round bye. But it seems like the Rays and the White Sox could possibly have a jump on us in that regard. But let's see. So Luis Tapia, I think is a great player, and he might come up at some point this season. It looks like Kirby's velocity dropped. That's unfortunate. Tim George at catcher. Anybody from us? Matt Brash, number 1 pitcher in July. Jeremy Johnson, PCL Better of the Month. Nelson Serpa, July's newcomer in the British Baseball League. So that's where Serpa is. Who did we trade him for? For Belize. What's Dunyo doing? Had a good half season in Boston, and now he's awful. Mike McCall, also bad. So that trade didn't turn out too poorly for us to get that one season out of Belize. Our draft history. I let the assistant GM take the first round here. Joe Kipp was our first round pick out of the University of Memphis. Amari Tisby, a high school pitcher with tantalizing stuff, but see if he can put it all together. And then a few other guys. Is Duke Canich still pitching? He is. Talon Bell, he should be done pretty soon. Josh Springer never made it to the bigs. And Jake McCowan. McKernan got 2 innings. Von Necker won't make it. No for Hagen Wright. No for Grayson Bolus. We're going to have 2 major leaguers out of the first 2 draft classes. And then just a few after that. I'm going to do the 10-year sim after this playoff series that we get to. Hopefully we get to, I should say. That's about it. All right, thanks for watching. We'll be back for the playoffs.